Hello, take a moment and think about the last time you felt true, unadulterated joy. Not just a fleeting moment of pleasure, but a deep, lasting sense of fulfillment. For most of us, these moments are rare. We're taught that happiness is a prize to be won, a state we must constantly chase. We're told to find it in a new job, a new car, a new relationship. We're on a relentless hunt for a feeling that seems to slip through our fingers the moment we grab it. But what if I told you that this entire approach is fundamentally wrong? What if chasing happiness is the one thing that is keeping you from ever truly finding it? What if joy is not something you acquire, but a state you align with?
Today we're going to explore a radical new idea. We are going to apply the fundamental laws of physics to your emotional life. Because the universe does not operate on the principle of chasing, but on the principle of resonance. We will explore why the search for happiness is an illusion, and we will reveal a simple, elegant system that allows you to stop the hunt and start living a life of effortless joy. This is the physics of joy, a system designed to help you stop chasing happiness and start embodying it. To understand this, we must first confront the nature of the trap. The trap is a lie we tell ourselves, a story we have inherited from a culture that values consumption over creation and external validation over internal peace. The lie is this: happiness is an event. It's something that happens to you. It's a prize you get when you achieve a goal, when you buy a new thing, when you reach a new milestone. But think about your own experience. That feeling of elation after a big win is real, but it is fleeting. It is a spike, not a state. It is a temporary hit of dopamine and adrenaline, but it is not a sustainable way to live. The moment you achieve one goal, your mind is already looking for the next. The moment you buy one thing, you are already looking for the next. You are on an endless treadmill, a constant chase for a feeling that you can never truly hold on to. But what if happiness is not an event, but a state? What if it is not something that happens to you, but a frequency you are actively putting out into the world? This is where the first principle of the physics of joy comes in, the law of resonance. In physics, resonance is when an object vibrating at a specific frequency causes another object to vibrate at the same frequency. It is the reason a tuning fork can make another tuning fork hum without ever touching it. Your life works in the same way. The frequency you are putting out into the world, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, is resonating with your physical reality. When you are in a state of scarcity, fear and doubt, you are resonating with experiences that match that frequency. But when you are in a state of joy, abundance, and possibility, you are resonating with a reality that matches that frequency. This is not a mystical concept. It is a practical life principle. Your life is not a result of what you have, but a reflection of who you are. The most joyful people in the world are not the ones who have the most things. They are the ones who have created a system that allows them to live from a place of joy, regardless of their circumstances. They have learned to align their thoughts, their feelings, and their actions with the frequency of happiness. And in doing so, they are not chasing a feeling. They are embodying a state. And when you are in a state of joy, the world begins to show up for you in a new way. New opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences begin to flow into your life. Effortless.
This leads us to the second principle we must understand, the principle of least effort. This is a fundamental law of the universe. The most efficient systems are the ones that use the least amount of energy to create the most amount of value. A bolt of lightning does not struggle to find its way to the ground. It simply flows with the path of least resistance. The reason most people struggle with happiness is that they are constantly pushing against the current. They are doing things that feel difficult, that feel draining, that feel like a struggle. But the most joyful people in the world are not the ones who work the hardest. They are the ones who have created a system that makes the right choice, the most expansive choice, the path of least resistance.
So, how do you do this? How do you create a system that makes joy effortless?
The answer lies in identifying your unique genius, the one thing you can do that feels like play to you, but looks like work to others. This is your path of least resistance. This is your effortless flow. The reason most people struggle with joy is that they are doing work they hate, work that feels like a struggle, work that is a constant push against the current. But when you find the work that aligns with your unique genius, you will find that you are not just working, you are creating.
And when you are creating, you are in a state of effortless flow. The third principle we must understand is the law of the vacuum.
In physics, a vacuum is a space devoid of matter. It is a state of absolute emptiness, but the universe abhors a vacuum. It will rush in to fill any empty space. And the same is true for your life. To receive new things, new joy, new opportunities, new relationships, you must first create a vacuum for them. You must release the old to make space for the new. The reason most people struggle with joy is that they are clinging to a state of lack. They are holding on to old beliefs, old habits, and old possessions that are no longer serving them. They have no space for new energy to flow in.
Think about it this way. Your cluttered closet has no room for new clothes. Your crowded schedule has no room for new opportunities. And your mind, filled with old fears and doubts, has no room for new, expansive ideas. The law of the vacuum is about the power of release. It is about consciously letting go of what no longer serves you. This can be as simple as decluttering your physical space, unsubscribing from email lists that fill you with noise, or as profound as forgiving an old grudge that is holding you back. When you create this intentional void, you are literally signaling to the universe that you are ready for a new reality. This powerful insight leads us to the fourth principle, the quantum observer effect. In quantum physics, a particle can exist in all possible states at once, as a wave of probability. It is only when an observer looks at it that the wave collapses into a single concrete reality. The mere act of observation brings it into existence. This is a fundamental law of your life. Your attention, your focus, your awareness is the most powerful force in the universe. It is the observer that collapses the wave of all possible realities into the one you experience. The reason most people struggle with joy is that they are constantly observing and focusing on scarcity, on what they lack. And in doing so, they are collapsing that reality into existence. They are creating the very experience they fear. But what if you chose to focus on abundance? What if you chose to focus on the opportunities that are all around you? When you choose to focus your attention on joy, you are actively collapsing a new reality into existence. You are not waiting for happiness to show up. You are the observer who is bringing it into being. And truly understand this. Imagine your mind is a garden. Your thoughts and feelings are the seeds. And your focused attention is the sunlight and water. Most people spend their lives watering the weeds, the thoughts of doubt, the fears of scarcity. They are constantly observing and nourishing the things they don't want to grow. But the moment you turn your attention to the seeds of joy, the thoughts of possibility, the feelings of gratitude, you begin to nourish a new reality. The quantum observer effect teaches us that your life is not a fixed thing, it is a dynamic field of potential. And your focused, intentional attention is the very force that sculpts that potential into form. Now let's talk about the final piece of the puzzle, a concept that often gets overlooked, the law of friction. In the physical world, friction is a force that opposes motion. It's what keeps a car from sliding on ice and allows you to walk without falling. It's a necessary force, but in the human experience, we often create unnecessary internal friction, a kind of psychological drag that slows us down and keeps us stuck. This internal friction is a lack of alignment. It's the resistance you feel just before you take action, the voice that tells you it's too hard, that you aren't ready, that you'll fail. It's not the external friction of the task itself, but the internal friction of your own doubt. The goal is not to eliminate all friction from your life, that's impossible, but to shift it. Your friction should be external, coming from the problem you're solving, not internal, coming from your own mind. You reduce internal friction by taking the path of least resistance and breaking down your goals into smaller, more manageable parts. A blank page is a source of immense friction for a writer, but a single sentence, a single word, the friction is almost zero. The key is to start with the smallest possible action you can take right now. The action is not the point. The point is to create momentum, to shift the energy from a state of resistance to a state of flow. When you do this, you are no longer a victim of your own resistance. You are the master of it.
And finally, let's add one more principle to our system: the law of reciprocity. This is a fundamental law of energy. What you put out, you get back. The universal echo. If you live your life from a place of scarcity and hold your energy tightly, the universe will reflect that back to you. But if you live your life from a place of generosity and value, the universe will reflect that back to you in abundance. Joy is a tool for exchange, and at its core, it is an act of reciprocity. You receive joy for the value you give to the world, and the more value you give, the more joy you will receive. This is a practical life principle. Every great, joyful life has been built on a foundation of massive value. When you stop chasing joy and start chasing value, you will find that joy begins to chase you.
So how do you live by the law of reciprocity? It's not about giving away money you don't have. It's about giving your energy, your ideas, and your unique genius. It's about looking for opportunities to serve others. It's about being the person who is constantly asking, how can I help? When you approach your life and your business from this mindset, you are not just working, you are a channel for value. And as a channel, you will find that the energy of joy begins to flow through you effortlessly.
Let's bring it all together into a simple 3-step system that you can start using today. This is the practical application of everything we have discussed.
The first step is what I call the emotional audit. This is not about judging your feelings. It's a deep, honest reflection on your emotional state throughout the day.
For a full week, carry a small notebook or use a note-taking app on your phone. Every hour, or at the very least a few times a day,
make a note of what you are doing and what emotion you are feeling. Does it make you feel anxious or calm? Does it make you feel depleted or energized? Be ruthlessly honest. The act of simply observing your emotional state will give you an incredible amount of clarity. You will see with undeniable data where you are losing your most valuable asset, your joy.
Second step is the energy reinvestment.
Now that you have the data from your audit, you can act with precision. This is the step where you consciously redirect your energy from low-leverage, draining activities to high-leverage, energizing activities. Make a list of 3 to 5 things that drain you the most, e.g., mindlessly scrolling social media, watching negative news. Now make a list of 3 to 5 high-leverage activities that align with your genius and your goals, e.g., learning a new skill, creating a new product. Your goal is to consciously replace the low-leverage activities with the high-leverage ones. If you spend 30 minutes a day scrolling, reinvest that 30 minutes into learning a new skill. You are not creating more time, you are simply reallocating your existing energy in a way that compounds your future potential. This is not about being busy. It's about being incredibly intentional with every single moment. The third and most important step is the compounding ritual. You cannot have a massive result without a small, consistent ritual. So, find one thing you can do every single day to bring more joy into your life. This isn't about massive, grand gestures. It's about a single, simple, non-negotiable habit. Maybe it's 5 minutes of meditation. Maybe it's a single page of journaling. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it is something you can do consistently without fail. Because when you do that one thing over and over and over again, you are not just taking an action. You are creating a flow. You are building a momentum that becomes unstoppable. And when you are in a state of flow, you are not just working, you are creating at your highest level. This is the ritual that transforms potential into reality. The lie is that you need to be busy to be happy. The truth is, you need to be intentional. You need to be strategic. You need to understand that your energy is your most valuable asset. And when you learn to manage that asset with the precision of a physicist, you will find that you are no longer pushing against the current. You are flowing with it. You are no longer working hard. You are working smart. And you are no longer just a passive observer in your life. You are the master of it. This is the fundamental shift from seeing joy as a battle to be won, to seeing it as a flow to be entered. The universe in its very nature seeks the path of least resistance.
And when you align your actions with that fundamental principle, you will find that the goals you once thought were impossible begin to manifest with a sense of natural, elegant ease. So let's stop being victims of our own exhaustion. Let's stop believing the lie that happiness is a grueling, endless battle. Let's start embracing the truth that joy is a joyful dance. It's about finding the path of least resistance. It's about being intentional with our energy. It's about knowing that when we are in a state of effortless flow, we are not just more productive, we are more fulfilled. The most successful people are not the ones with the most willpower. They are the ones who have created a system that makes the right choice the easy choice. They have made the path to their goals the path of least resistance. They have learned how to manage their energy with the precision of a physicist. And in doing so, they have unlocked a level of happiness that the average person can only dream of. And it is not magic. It is simply the application of a fundamental law of the universe. So let's stop chasing and start living.